you can absolutely foresee a tipping point, I think, where the number of civilian casualties becomes such that serious questions, I think, then need to be asked by America.
Let's move on to comments from the new Foreign Secretary David Cameron, who said that Britain will impose a travel ban on Israeli settlers who commit violence against Palestinians. Lord Cameron of Chipping Norton has denounced Israeli extremists, as he puts it, who commit intimidating acts, and says they'd be barred from the UK. Kevin, this is really a sign of a shift in approach, isn't it? A sign of the West's growing frustration with Netanyahu, perhaps.
Yeah, you've taken the words right out of my mouth there. We've already seen it with President Biden, certainly toughening up his language with regard to Israel. And I think there's definitely a growing concern, a growing nervousness at the indiscriminate nature of the bombing of Gaza by the Israeli Defence Force. Now, thus far, Britain and America have held the line. They're not supporting a full ceasefire, while lots of other countries, not least France, Ireland, have done so. They are talking about humanitarian pauses still. But you can absolutely foresee a tipping point, I think, where the number of civilian casualties becomes such that serious questions, I think, then need to be asked by America, perhaps even going so far as to call for a complete halt in the violence. And then I think you would very quickly see the UK government and Labour row in behind the United States. I mean, one of the other developments this week, which was quite alarming, was the UK ambassador, the Israeli ambassador to the UK, in an interview on Sky, saying basically that she doesn't support a two-state solution. I mean, that's been pretty much the international community's consensus. One of the probably only consensus that there isn't in the international community, that a peaceful settlement must be predicated on a two-state solution. And if now the Israeli government is now moving away from that, then that's a pretty worrying development too. But yeah, I think it was pretty significant, David Cameron making that announcement earlier this week.
How about, Katrina, the significance of it being David Cameron who's saying this? Obviously, he's Foreign Secretary. Obviously, this is his ground. But actually, it's such a shift from what we've been hearing up until this point. Is it significant that we're hearing this from David Cameron?
But David Cameron has been critical in the past. Comments from 2010 have resurfaced this week where, when it was very unfashionable to do so, he referred to Gaza as being an open-air prison. So he does have a sort of hinterland of taking this position. But I think, what Kevin says is correct. I mean, for a lot of people, there will not be a sense of satisfaction until the US and the UK come out and call for a complete ceasefire. But this is definitely a very rare rebuke of Netanyahu. It is a shift in position. It's perhaps a sign that David Cameron is trying to take the Tory party back to some grown-up politics, and he's behaving with the statesman-like gravitas that I think it was hoped that he would do when he made a surprise return back to the cabinet. So it's certainly an interesting move from him, but it is, I think, for some people frustrating that the UK is, as it always does, coming in behind the US and just sort of waiting for President Biden to make a more meaningful decision to come out with some stronger language before the UK falls in behind.
Okay.